Hello, writers. You've been working really hard to come up with ways to explain why your evidence matters. For some of you, that's just the matter of using sentence starters, like what this means is, and this is important because things you've been doing for a long time. But some of you maybe needed to lift the level of that a little bit by tapping into some of our reading skills, explaining maybe what a piece of evidence means using what you know from reading. What this means is that the characters have colliding traits, which gets in the way of their relationship. So if you're thinking about relationships, you're probably tapping into, anyway, some of our reading work. Whatever you're doing, sentence starters or reading charts, those are great ways to get yourself to say more about why the evidence fits. But for those of you who are either finding yourselves stuck on maybe one or two pieces of evidence or looking for a way to lift the level of your analysis, this is a great strategy for you. So this strategy is called considering the counter argument. And before I show you this in my own writing, I want to just explain what this means. So whenever you're writing something, it's important to remember that what you're saying could have another side, that whatever claim you're making essentially is in favor of something or is on the behalf of one specific interpretation. So we need to make sure that when we get higher level up in higher level writing, and especially if we ever put our writing or our claims up against somebody else, like in a debate, we want to really not only like know that there's another side of the argument, but really consider what they might actually say against us and use that to make ours stronger. Let me show you what I mean with that. Okay, so let's take on the argument of middle schoolers should have more recess. That's an argument because it's in favor of one side or one belief, and there is likely another side to that. And so I just came up with little boxes and bullets to support that argument. So maybe someone could write an essay in favor of more recess with these supporting reasons. One reason might be that um, middle schoolers are growing, need fresh air and exercise for health reasons. Maybe another one might be for their friendships are more serious since they need more time together to, to protect those relationships. And then finally, maybe just having more breaks in the day would make for more focus. So essentially, like one thing is like about health, one thing is about their social lives, and one's about like their mental health. Okay. So like considering that, what I just said on my argument, to make this even stronger, if I was going into a debate, I would not only want to remind myself that somebody could argue against me, but the ways in which they might do that or the supporting reasons that would make that possible. So for instance, if I say they're growing and need fresh air and exercise, I might say on the other side, like, well, they're growing, which also means like their academics call for more uninterrupted time. So like making like breaks take away from that. Meaning that like breaks would take away from instructional time. Okay, another thing, so on the other side is their friendships are more serious, need more time together. Well, if I'm talking about the social side of that, maybe I could think like more time means more drama, more time to get into fights. Okay, now your turn. Can you find another side to more focus? So like maybe having more time would make them come back more focused. But what also might happen if kids have more time outside? This doesn't mean that you necessarily believe it, but try it out. Take a second right now, pause the video or talk together. What's maybe the counter argument to this? So maybe what you came up with was something like more time away from learning will make transitions even more chaotic. Okay, so now we have two arguments. We have ours, and then we have what somebody else might say against ours. Okay, and with that in mind, now I'm going to go over to my own writing and argue against myself to make my writing even stronger. Okay, so I'm looking at this piece of evidence and I've been really stuck on it for a while. I feel like my explanation is working, but not quite. So this might be a good opportunity to use that counter argument strategy. Here it is. Will explains, I wanted to explain to him that this had been going on for years, that Mom and Skip and I had an understanding. This is important because it also reveals how both brothers have a tendency to tell on the other, making things challenging for a happy brotherly bond. So when I'm looking at this explanation, what I'm realizing is like I'm kind of just saying that the claim again, like they both do this a lot. So maybe what I can do differently this time is argue against it. And I'm actually going to take on a sentence starter to help me with this. Let me take on maybe some people might interpret this differently. Okay, let me just try that out. I'm just gonna like copy that right here. I'm gonna plop it right into my essay and try. Okay, so we'll put it in blue so I can see. Okay, so some people might argue this differently. Like, for instance, and think that, what could I art? Oh, the mom, like maybe the mom's role. So like they need their mom to like make them come together. This is going on for a long time, but maybe I could say like some people might interpret this differently and think that their mom helps them, and without her around, then their relationship will have issues. However, I believe that they rely on their mom too much, meaning that their relationship was probably already complicated even before their dad came into, or their dad entered the situation. Okay, so what I just realized was that by going against myself, like I thought that maybe the mom could be like, if like without her there, and the dad coming in, that was the imbalance. But if I argue against myself, like maybe it's the mom's fault, I have this like whole new way of thinking about this. Okay. So today what I'd like you to try is one of two things. You might go in and try to get yourself unstuck by adding some of that counter argument right into a body paragraph. Another thing you might do is if you feel up for it, is make an entire body paragraph a counter argument, starting with the same kind of sentence like this, but giving like a claim on the other side. So some people might think that the mother is the only positive character in this story. However, I believe she causes more issues for the brothers than we realize. And then I could support it with that. Okay, so you could, one, make some evidence stronger, some analysis stronger, or two, make a whole counter argument body paragraph if you want, if you're up for it. Whatever you do, you can check out Google Classroom to see all of these supports and more. All right, I can't wait to see what you do. Thank you so much.